vengeance in its eyes. All hope seems to die when he sees your eyes running through the night. Only takes him back, always out of sight, prowling through the night. Run, you can run, but you'll never hide. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming.
Good evening, everyone. It is Sunday night, the day after a match. What does that mean? It means that the extra time fan zone is back, and I am joined this evening by the voice of reason himself, looking very dapper tonight. Jack, how are you doing?
Yeah, not so bad. How are we all?
I'm pretty good. And you were at the I think you were at the game yesterday.
I was, yeah. I bumped into a very distinguished gentleman at halftime and had a wonderful conversation.
I wonder who that could be by any chance.
Absolutely.
I think it might be Sutty.
Absolutely.
I thought it might. And Sutty, how are you?
Good evening, David. I'm very well, thank you.
Yeah, and you had him at thing, and I saw him before the game. Sutty looking very dapper. He got the yellow t-shirt out and about.
I did, Dave. My good lady said I'd be easy to spot with a yellow t-shirt on in a Wolves.
It was a yellow t-shirt for a beautiful sunny day as well.
It was.
And Scott, good evening to you.
Good evening. It's good to be back.
Oh dear, I think you watched the game remotely.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Which is great because we've got me, Jack, and Sutty were at the game, in the thick of it with the fans, and then we've got you who kind of in the VAR room, basically.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Right, we've got loads of people already joining us. We've already got 158. We are live across YouTube, Facebook, and X, Twitter, I think, whatever they call it these days as well. If you're on YouTube and you want to comment, make sure you do hit the subscribe button. Before we get started, I do need to say, of course I do, a big thank you to Creation Wolf for powering the show. I need to update that because it says on the ball. We're back into extra time now. Creation Wolf, they're basically a brilliant company. They do so much for the channel. They really do. If you've got a company or a brand, they're just brilliant. They'll take you take to the next level. You honestly, they're so good. It's creationwolf.com if you listen to it on the podcast, but the link is below. So tonight, just to give you just a little taster of what's to come on the channel this evening, we are of course going to be looking at and analysing and deep diving on the talking points from the 2-0 defeat against Arsenal at the Emirates. They'll be giving you their man of the match, their performance rating, and their highlights from the game. We're also going to be keeping the rest of the week's news reviewed because obviously things are happening at the moment, so it's only right to talk about that. We'll be looking ahead to our next game against Chelsea, Pedro Neto's Chelsea, who came on today during their 2-0 home defeat to Manchester City. At the end, we're going to do a bit of a Q&A, so you got your questions answered. But as a bit of fun, we're also going to be asking all the guys on here, and of course you guys, just a little bit of fun, your favourite summer destinations as we've had a bit of sun. Now, the other thing to note is, guys, that tonight, although we've got us three on, we're like the four main ones that are coming on. We're inviting you guys to be able to come on and join us. If you've got any points, you can come on for 2 or 3 minutes, make a point, ask a question. You can do all of that. The link to come on the show to get into the green room is literally below this video alongside our sponsor. So if you want to come on the show and have a chat to Scott, have a chat to the voice of reason himself, Jack, or have a head-to-head ding-dong with Sutty, then please feel free to come on the channel. Let's start off tonight. We're up to 251 of you watching. Wherever you're watching, if you hit that like button, we'll really appreciate it. Mate, let's start with you, Jack. Talk me through your day yesterday, the build-up, your expectations, the game, and what's your talking points that you'd like to bring up.
I mean, in terms of expectation, it wasn't a great deal. I mean, there's always the kind of anticipation of a new season, and it's Wolves, so we might do something. But I think you look at Arsenal, you think they're a very good side, and if they turn up and play well, it'll be a difficult game for us. And they did play well, I think. But I was pleased with how we applied ourselves overall. We weren't disgraced, we weren't embarrassed. And there was a period in the second half where we had them a little bit rattled. They were giving the ball away and they were doing a few sort of niggly fells in the middle just to kind of try and kill our momentum. But we've just got to take our chances. And, Cunha in particular will be really disappointed with the one he missed when he was presented to him on a plate and he almost passed it back to the goalkeeper, didn't he? I mean, Raya made 2 great saves in the game, didn't he? The one from Larson is an extraordinary save, isn't it? And at the time people were saying, Larson should have scored, but I don't think he could have done anything else. It's just a brilliant save. But, I mean, the word I've written is naive. And me and Sutty were just sort of talking just before we came on. I mean, the second goal is the key example. I mean, Lamina, the captain, when he gives away the foul in the middle of the park for the second goal, he's picking their bloke up while they're taking the quick free kick. Now, you taught when you're sort of playing at school football, if you give away a free kick, stand in front of the ball and stop them taking the quick one. They don't take that kick until your team are ready. And we're still a little bit naive at times with that kind of thing in terms of just that game management. And particularly when you're playing a good team like Arsenal, if they spot a chance to exploit something, they will. And that's probably the disappointment yesterday is the 2 goals they scored. They didn't have to work particularly hard for them. I mean, the first goal in particular, it's just a cross in the box and a free header, and it's a goal, isn't it? But overall, I thought we applied ourselves well. We put a little bit of pressure on them second half. And you kind of, a little bit like last year at Old Trafford on the first day, you kind of came out, okay, you've lost. But you saw enough to be encouraged and think, actually, we are a decent team here. And if we can get a few additions in before the end of the window, we can certainly look up rather than down this season.
Well said. Just a couple of points. I do want to make a point that Jason did the Lord Jason guy. He did the watch along for us at the weekend, which thanks to Carl, because I was in the stadium, he was having a bit of panic about going live. He stepped in. He was a bit nervous to start with. I watched it back. He did a really, really great job stepping in for Chelsea. Jason will be doing some more watch-alongs going forward. Chelsea is back this weekend for the Chelsea game. So she was away in Switzerland for this one. So, yeah, Jack, you made some great points there about the game. Sutty, what's your take on that? Yeah, were we naive?
Yes, we were. We didn't play too bad, Dave, to be honest. We had periods again, especially second half, sort of minute 45 to 65. We had them under the cosh a little bit, Dave, and they were rattled. No 2 ways about it. Ryan Aït-Nouri, Blaze one just wide. Cunha, you'd put your house on him.
Do you think Cunha, that was down to him not being quite much sharp?
Yeah. Quite possibly, Dave. He snatched at it. He could have gone another couple of yards inside the box, and then had a strike. But it is what it is. I mean, let's be honest. We all want to win at Arsenal. We all want to win at Man City. It's a very, very rare occurrence. But we do tend to shoot ourselves in the foot, Dave. And we've gifted them 2 goals. I mean, the first goal with a cross in, Ryan Aït-Nouri was nowhere to be seen. Lamina's rushed over, gone over to close the cross down. The cross is coming so easy.
Saka had a lot of time and space there. It was a second phase of play, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we weren't set. And if you give someone like Saka that amount of time to deliver a cross, and to be fair, Sarr came rushing out, and if he's gonna come out, he's got to make that.
He's got a pole axe.
If it's goal, he's got a chance to say, but he's come and he's headed into an open goal, hasn't he? Really.
Yeah. And then the second goal, as Jack said, We're being nice to them because we're in a nice big stadium, and we haven't really got a nasty streak in us, or a streak in us that says we'll hold up play here. And we've committed the cardinal sin again. And everybody in that ground knows that anywhere around the penalty area, you do not let Saka free on his left foot.
No, you know what? We were talking about that before the game, because the previous match at the Emirates, he scored in 10 minutes, cut inside, left-footed. In the World Cup, you saw him cut in, left-footed. You don't let him come in on his left foot because he's going to shoot. And, you know, you have to show him around the outside. And, again...
But I think as well, Dave, we've created 3 gilt-edged chances. And in the big boys league, Dave, you have got to be ruthless. Because the real top clubs, if they have 3 gilt-edged chances, they'll put 2 away. We've got to learn a lesson here, and we've got to put them away. My only other issue is we all knew that the gaffer was going to go with the back 4, and that's his choice. That's his choice. But I still don't believe we've got the full-backs to play a back 4. We've got wing backs that still want to push forward, and the first goal is a very good case as to why you cannot have wing backs flying forward when they should. Their first point of call should be defending. And had we held our line and not been bombing forward, then that first goal would not have happened.
Interestingly enough, I do think I have the first goal. So, Scott, I want to hear your thoughts on that. Obviously, you know, we've seen the highlights on Match of the Day, but you'd have watched the whole game. You know, you've heard what Jack has to say, Sutty has to say. From the VAR room, so to speak, what's your take? And I'll have a look, see whether I can find the footage that I've got of that first goal that you referred to.
Well, in the beginning, my opinion on the game before we even kicked the ball was we weren't going to come away with anything. If we got a draw, then I would be mightily impressed, because I think Arsenal really want the trophy this season and I want to get off to a good start with a win. So they were just going to come at us for nothing less than a win. But I honestly believe that if Arsenal did get that win, they wouldn't get it easy. And as you watch the game for 90 minutes, we didn't give it them easy. There was times in the game where, like especially the first half, I was starting to lose my patience, because we were trying to play it from the back, and I love to see that. But Sarr worries me to death when he's got the ball. Like, he honestly worries me to death. And at times, and I think it's mostly Sarr to blame, he made Gomez, Totti, should I say, look very vulnerable on the ball as well, because he's put him into danger, and then he's got to give it Sarr back. And then again, you're panicking, because I don't trust Sarr. Let's just put it that way. I don't trust Sarr when it comes to playing from out the back. He worries me. But the one positive to come from that was Yerson. I think Yerson had a good game for full out. I think anybody who had a little inkling of doubt about how he would settle into Premier League football with Wolves, that doubt's gone. I think he played incredibly well against arguably what could be the champions this season. As the game went on, you knew they were going to get a goal. You just could sense it, because even though we had good spells, we were giving the ball away too cheaply, and we were losing it and letting them in. And eventually, Sarr comes out to claim a ball, which, like you said, Dave, he's got to claim if he's coming out for, and he misses it completely and gives them essentially a free header into the back of the goal. Second half, I think we were loads better. I think we were. And I think at times, as much as you could hear Arsenal through the TV, there was some ounces of hush in the stadium, because I think even the Arsenal fans were starting to worry that, hold up a second, we're a little bit vulnerable here now. And that header from Larson, that's 1-1. I'm sorry, but it's 1-1. And that changes the whole complexity, if that's the right word, of the game completely. But it's a moment of sheer brilliance from their keeper. He's going the opposite way to where the shot's going, and he pulls off a magnificent save. And he did a couple of them against us in that game, but that one was the standout one. But honestly, against any other keeper, that's going in the back of the net, and that's 1-1. Then I think you've got a whole different game on your hands. I think we keep pushing. We've got momentum. And I don't think Arsenal get one back. I don't see it. But because Arsenal are determined they're going to get silverware this year, they're going to get the Premier League title. Again, our chances didn't get put away, and they put us to the sword with a second goal, which again was our fault. So I'm pleased overall. I think we put up a good performance against them, and it gives me a lot of heart going into the Chelsea game now, especially when I'm going to be there as well for this game. Like, I honestly believe we can get 3 points from Chelsea. I really do. And if we play like we did against Arsenal and just tie up those little few things that we gave Arsenal, essentially, we can give Chelsea a good game and possibly steal 3 points. And it's no shame losing to Arsenal on that first game of the season. It would be if we had just killed over like we did last season when we played them in December, I think it was. But we didn't this time. We showed a determination, we showed heart, and we were determined to give a good account of ourselves. And we can be proud coming off that pitch. I know it's a loss, and I know, nobody wants to lose, but still, to me, it was a good performance. It was a good performance, and we know what we need to work on now. We take that into this Chelsea game at home with a full Molineux. I'm confident we can nick 3 points here.
Well, I've got the goal from where I was watching it, the first goal. So I'm going to run that in a second, and then we'll probably break it down, because I'm sure Sutty is going to probably point out a few things what he was just talking about in a second. My thoughts on the game. You go in with hope in any game. You go in with belief that you can win. I actually think the players went out there with belief that they could beat Arsenal. Even though first game of the season, that any team's going to be up for it. They're at home. They're determined to win the title. They want to win every game, don't they? And I thought the first sort of 10 minutes, I thought, don't concede an early goal. We didn't. 20 minutes in, but we were being pushed back so often. It was almost like an inevitability that it was coming. I was disappointed with the first goal, because I think what Jack said, and I think there's a little bit of naivety about it. It was a second phase of play that we should have dealt with, and we didn't get back set, and we got caught. And you give someone of Saka's quality, well, anybody that's any decent in the Premier League, that quality to pick out a cross. But I also think Sarr was a little bit at fault, because if a keeper's going to come, you've got to make it. Because if you go for it and you don't make it, you've got nobody on the line, and it doesn't matter. As long as you get your head on it, it's going in the back of the net. Had he not come, he might have had a chance of saving it, but he did come. I also think Sarr made a couple of good, decent saves. We know he's a good shot stopper, but, I remember before even the first goal, when he had the ball and he kicked it out to the left and then kicked the ball out for a throw-in, and he's like, sorry, didn't even look. And that's just inviting pressure onto you. You don't do that. They get the ball back, turn it over, and, just keeps the pressure coming back. And this is the issue with Jose Sarr, is the fact that he is a great shot stopper, no doubt about it. But sometimes his distribution is questionable. I actually think probably Bentley's better at distributing the ball than Jose Sarr, but he's still a good he's a good keeper, good shot stopper. But do we need another keeper? That's a question mark for you guys in a minute. And then, we started to weather that stuff. We started to get a bit into the game. And I'll tell you what, the ball from Wang to Jurgen Strand-Larsen was a cracking ball. And Larsen is a good player. He was holding the ball up, bringing people in. He was making the runs. They weren't always finding him. But it was a great delivery, and he headed the ball so well. And David Raya is going the other way. And if it's half a yard to the right, slightly down or slightly up, I don't think he saves that ball. It's just he could stretch out his hand. He got his fingertips into a strong hand. because I think we all thought it was in. And I thought, like, when it bounced down, someone would follow it up and tap it in, but we didn't. But it was a brilliant save. I mean, he had 16 clean sheets last year. He's a great keeper, and he can play the ball out. Second half, we were controlling that game, we were controlling the game for 20, 25 minutes. We were doing an Arsenal on Arsenal. They couldn't get out. We were turning the ball over. We were making them make the same mistakes we were doing in the first half. They were starting to panic. We were causing them troubles. There was a bit of desperate defending. And then we created that chance from a mistake from them, from the high turnover that we got in the final third, that if that goes to an Arsenal player, they go in, they finish that. And Kuna will be very disappointed with himself because, like Sooty said, I think he had a little bit more time than he thought. And he tried to sort of pass it into the net. And all he ended up doing was hitting it straight at David Raya, which it wasn't even a difficult save. So Gary O'Neill said before the start of the game he wanted us to play with energy. I think we saw that we did that. He wanted us to be aggressive. I thought we were aggressive. We were brave. And he wanted us to be ruthless. But we weren't ruthless. And when you're not ruthless and you don't take your chances against top-class opposition, they only need one. We only need to make one momentarily lapse of focus or get turned inside and give someone like Saka the opportunity. He's going to put the ball in the net and 2-0. But even at 2-0, we've created chances. Sarabia had that volley as well. We kept going. So I came out the stadium. Yeah, we lost. But I was really, really positive. And I'm not fussed about this back four. I didn't think, generally speaking, we were too worried. I thought Yerson Mosquera was immense. I thought Totti was a little bit, maybe we need someone alongside Yerson. Totti ain't going to come up against that opposition every week. But I thought we looked okay. And generally, this is the goal, Sooty. So if you want to talk us through this.
You can't even see. You can't see Ait Nouri in the picture. This is my big problem with this back four, Dave.
Yeah.
I have no problem with playing a back four. No problem whatsoever. If that's what the gaffer wants to do, that's fine. But obviously Semedo's out suspended at the moment. And I thought, to be honest, Doherty did all right yesterday. Didn't really do a great deal wrong. But Ait Nouri, Ait Nouri for me is a glorified winger, and in a back five as a wing back, he has got cover behind him all the time. If he goes missing, Dave, we're in trouble, big trouble. And unfortunately, you're trying to teach him new tricks, and I don't think he's capable of being a full-back. Now, it's just leaving huge gaps. He was nowhere to be seen. I think on that still there, on the right-hand side, if you look at the scoreboard in the top corner, Ait Nouri is to the right-hand side of that scoreboard, and the cross has already come in. He is nowhere to be seen. You've got to be disciplined playing a back four, Dave.
But look, the other thing to look at there, interestingly enough, I'm just looking at that. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Wolves players all in a line against 2 Arsenal players there. And I think there's another one just past the thing, but it's a late run. But Sarr's on his line there. If we just run this forward, the cross is coming in here, and that you can see the ball in the air there, can't you? You can see the ball, and Sarr's still there, but he's coming for it. Sarr is, as we move this forward. And and there you go. He's gone for the ball and he's left a completely empty goal. There's a late run from the Arsenal thing, but like if he stays on his line there, the ball it's not headed into the corner. It's just headed into the goal. It's a good header. He's got a chance of saving that, and of course the ball's in the back of the net. We had 6 players in a line, so they're all in a line, but the too much space for the cross.
I like Ryan Aït-Nouri, Dave. I don't want people to think that, but I'm a bit old-fashioned here because I think I still believe in a back five, Dave. I think that's where we're at our most attacking. We can suck up pressure, no problem, and we've got fast players that can hit on the break. Now, yesterday, we didn't really hit on the break very often. I know it's against Arsenal before anyone says anything. And I'm not going to really single people out here. First game of the season, and it was a pretty good performance. But with a 5 at the back, that allows the likes of Aït-Nouri, Nelson Semedo to go bombing forward. They can't just do that now, Dave, in a back 4. It's got to be very, very disciplined. And I just don't think it's part of their game. Now, if we've all of a sudden got to go out and buy 2 fullbacks, which we won't, to play this system, you're probably going to spunk somewhere in the region of 40, 50 million quid to get any quality doing it. Well, we all know that ain't going to happen. They ain't going to do that. Going back to Jose Sarr, we all know he's a great shot stopper, Dave, but long gone are the days where a goalkeeper can just rely on being a great shot stopper. That football nowadays is not 10 outfield players versus 10 outfield players. It is 11 v 11. And the bloke between the sticks, Dave, it is an absolute must. If you want to be playing out from the back like everybody does, that goalkeeper has got to be able to play football with both feet. And if he can't, shot stopping nowadays, Dave, is just bread and butter. Every goalkeeper in that division is a great shot stopper. Every single one. But you've got to be able to play football. And unfortunately, Jose Sarr can't play football, Dave.
Jack, what's your thoughts on this back 4, back 5 situation and Jose as well?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because, I mean, we were in a similar situation 2 years ago with Bruno Lage. He decided, I'm going to ditch the back 3. I'm going to go to a back 4. He lost his first 3 games and he bottled it, didn't he? And he went back to the back 3. And actually, the reason he'd been brought in to replace Nuno was to play. And so actually, it was completely counterproductive. So I'm kind of with Sutty on the sense that if O'Neill wants to play the back 4, he's got to stick with it now. You can't just go, oh, actually, we've lost a game, so I'm going to put an extra centre half in for the next one. I think we've got to stick with it. But I think, yeah, I mean, whether we can get... I mean, I think Aït-Nouri is a wonderful footballer, and I'd love him to play further forward if we can get someone that can play in behind as an orthodox left-back, if you like, and then Aït-Nouri can... I mean, a bit like Gareth Bale did, because he was a left-back to begin with, wasn't he? He ended up playing, much further forward to great success. So it's a difficult one. I mean, Sarr is the biggest issue for me, more so than the system, because he just plays everyone into trouble. And you can see that the defenders are a little bit nervous when he's got the ball. So they're not necessarily pushing up. They're waiting in case he messes up and they need to bail him out. So all of a sudden, you're very deep. And so you can't necessarily get out then. So beating the press becomes more difficult. And I think Sutty's bang on. I think, you look at shot stopping, it's kind of great, but goalkeepers now have to be able to do far more than that. Nick Pope's a great example. Wonderful, wonderful shot stopper. Can't pass a ball to save his life. Lost his place in the England squad. Not guaranteed to be Newcastle's first choice anymore. So it is what it is. And it's a position where if we've got someone in mind that we could perhaps bring in, and I think that would help us far more than the 4 or 3 at the back. He's just a goalkeeper that can get us up the pitch with his distribution.
Scott, good points there from Sutty and Jack. I mean, you watched the game. You probably saw the patterns of play a little bit more because obviously we're in the crowd and stuff like that. You see the TV angles and all that sort of stuff. What's your take on the back 4 and Sarr yourself? What's your general feeling?
Like Jack said, and like I said earlier, the biggest worry was Sarr. Sarr just, when he's on a ball, it scares me. It panics me because even he doesn't know what he's going to do with it. So he'll either try and pass it back to whoever gave it him, or he'll knock it back upfield. And 9 times out of 10, it's all right. but then that one time, it either goes out of play or it goes to on the opposition. And we've seen it last season in bits and bobs. And again, first game of the season, we're seeing it now. So, like, I can't really comment much on Bentley because I can't really remember much of Bentley. But if Sarr does this again against Chelsea and we still play out from the back in the 4, and he's putting his hand up again saying, sorry, I'm sorry, but put Bentley in. Or at least try it in the cup game against Burnley with Bentley. And if you see it better with Bentley, that he's doing better, like passing out from the back, getting the ball to the right places, then I'm sorry, but Bentley's got to go into the Premier League one until we can at least get a more experienced Premier League keeper. Because as much as I do like Bentley, I'd rather have somebody with a bit more experience in between the sticks for the Premier League campaign. But I've got no issue with O'Neill playing the 4. I'm a big fan of the 5. Like the way we played with Nuno, like it was some of the best football I've ever seen Wolves play. So if we could get somebody who can produce that type of football again, but with better quality players and maybe a better outcome from it where we get back into Europe again and do a bit better, so forth, so on, then great. But this is O'Neill's way of doing things. Like he's got his first pre-season ever as a coach with Wolves. And it was a good pre-season. It weren't great, but it wasn't rubbish either. It was a good pre-season. We got a decent amount of wins, and we played very good football. So for me, I will back him all the way with this back 4. But I think his biggest issue at the minute is Sarr, because Sarr is the weak link. None of like so he said, like Aït-Nouri, big fan of him, but he is an issue when it comes defensively. But I think Sarr is more of an issue for us at the minute.
Right, well, that's really interesting. I mean, my thoughts on it is, I mean, we've all got great memories of Nuno with the back 5 and how we played under that. But you know, we've seen us play back 5 and it be really, really negative as well. Lopetegui switched to the back 5. Bruno Lage switched to the back 5. Gary O'Neill played the back 5. I think, you know, we weren't exactly scoring loads of goals and keeping lots of goals out towards the end of last season either. I watched England in the summer like we all do, and they were just so like playing on the back foot. I watched every single game, every single minute of every single game of pre-season, and I've stayed up every night and I've watched what we've been playing, and I've thought we look really comfortable in the back 4. All the games that we've played, I've not, you know, the Crystal Palace game, a couple of long balls and stuff like that, the chopped and changed to defence and stuff like that. Against RB Leipzig, we were just so comfortable playing that system, and the goals that we scored. You know, the thing is, we're playing out from the back, and so you're gonna occasionally lose the ball if you put under pressure. You know, are we basically wanting to revert back to the back 3? I agree that we probably could do with a full back coming in, or are we going to be brave? I want to see a Wolves team that's brave. I want to see us trying to be brave and play the football. We have got super talented players that can play and break the lines. We showed up. We did it. We did it against Arsenal at the weekend. We controlled that game for 20 minutes. Arsenal at home, title favourites, and we had them pinned back for 20 minutes, and they couldn't get out because we were being brave and they were trying to play the football, and we were winning the ball back because we were being aggressive. We didn't take the chances, agreed. But if we keep playing like that, we're going to score more goals. We're going to score a lot more goals. We might concede, a few on breaks and stuff like that. But you look at the likes of Tottenham Hotspur. They literally sit in the opponent's half. You can catch them on the break, and teams can do that. You can play the ball over the top, and you can get in. But they win more games than they lose. So I don't know what the answer is. I think we need to bring in a fullback. I think we need another centre back, because he does want to switch to a back 3, which he can do in games. I think it's a good option for us to do that when we need to do it. We've got Dawson to come on, Santiago Bueno's there. But if we started playing a back 3, we've only got 4 centre backs, so we need another one anyway. The Hugo Bueno thing, I think, is a bit strange because that's left us a little bit weak as well on that one side, and I was really entertained yesterday. And I came out thinking, you know what, we weren't far off drawing that game, other than a brilliant save from their keeper, and at 1-0 and a glaring a big opportunity from Kuna that he missed. That was all at 1-0. We had the chances, and even after they went 2-0, we still carried on going forward and we created chances. So I don't know. I think, Jack, you hit the nail on the head. And I think, Sutty, you hit the nail on the head last week when you talked about the Arsenal fans with Arteta, when he had a really difficult start and they were all getting on his back and stressing and stuff like that. And he stuck to his plan. And look where Arsenal are now. And I think what we've got to do, personally, is not panic. If we lose, we'd get off to a bit of a difficult start. If O'Neill believes in this system that he's been playing, he's got to stick by it now, and he's got to be brave and go with it. Go on, Sudzi.
Dave, just to put this in layman's terms here, yesterday, with SAR's distribution, it was 11v10. That it's almost like having somebody sent off. It's if you're going to play the system, I don't think we can teach these. And I haven't, like I say, I haven't got a problem with playing this system. I personally would still play the 5 because last season we've absolutely torn Spurs to bits. We've torn Chelsea to bits. We would beat Man City. We've given all the big boys a real good run for their money. And I don't have a problem with him playing this. But this club has just raked in nearly £100 million. And if the man wants to play that system, you must give him the tools to play that system. Now, if I might get pelters here, if that means you've got to sell Nelson Semedo and Aït-Nouri and have 2 proper fullbacks in tow to play this system, to allow this man to play how he wants to do, a more attacking brand of football, I'm led to believe, although I'm yet to see it because Bruno Lage tried it and we played fantastically well for 4 games, the beginning of one season. I'll be honest with you, the best I've seen us play since Nuno was those 4 games, and we lost every one.
1-0.
Yeah, and the trouble, and I think our XG was through the roof, the most in the Premier League for those 4 games, but we just couldn't score, could we? But you've got to give the man the tools to do the job. You're going to love me here, Dave, because it's only episode 1. But there's only one bloke who's going to allow the funds to be released to buy 2 proper fullbacks and maybe a goalkeeper. And that is Mr. Shea. And I just don't think he's going to do it, Dave.
Well, let's just come back on the funds side of things. So look, I worked out we were about £20 million up before the season started because of what we did last year. So there were 20 million up. Okay, 4.3 million Tommy Doyle. Okay, 3 million on Jurgen Strand Larsen. How much was Pedro Lima?
17 or something, was he?
About 8 million, I think, wasn't he?
Oh, was that all he was?
Yeah.
Yeah, he went a lot. Only a young lad. So that's okay. 4.3 plus 3. Call that 8. Plus, call it another 8, 16. Rodrigo Gomez, how much was he?
About
13.
12, 13, yeah.
Well, so call that. You're going to basically say that's around about 16 plus 10, 26, 28 million, right? 28 million. I need to then put another 20 million aside because Jurgen Strand Larsen's going to cost us another 20 million next year in the summer. Okay, so let's put that aside as well because I'll need to keep thinking of it. So that's 28 million bought in. Plus the 40, plus the 20 million, 28 million spent, and another, so 48 million, I'd say, out of the 20 million that we had. Then we've sold Kilman 40 million. So that puts us plus 12. And then we've sold, obviously, Neto. So call that 52 million plus 12, call it 53 plus 12. So that's 6. I'd say that's about 65 million. They're not going to give him all of that because they're going to keep stuff back for January. So I reckon we've got Gary O'Neill's got around about somewhere between 30 to 40 million pounds to spend this before the end of the window, potentially. That's where I think we're at. Gary O'Neill's already said that him and Matt Hobbs have been looking at targets. They already were planning for Kilman and Pedro Neto going. I think that's one of the reasons what Rodrigo Gomez has come in, Pedro Lima's come in. We've finally got that number 9. I felt sorry for him that he didn't score. But Gary has said that it's not about directly placing Pedro Neto. It's about strengthening the squad and balancing the squad. So I think Keith is definitely one that they potentially could look at. I think a central defender, definitely. I think we need a fullback and probably another backup striker. And it all depends, of course, as well on what happens with the likes of Chiquino, the likes of Daniel Pedence, the likes of Gonçalo Guedes. Because I know people say we're a selling club, but we've bought in 4 players this so far. So that's 4. Bueno's gone out on loan. But we've had like Chiquino, Yerson Mosquera, Daniel Pedence and Guedes come back. So they're like 4 brand new players as well. Yerson Mosquera, to me, he's better than Kilman already. So is the squad getting stronger, the depth? I'd say yes. Are there still positions we need to strengthen? I think yes. Are they going to do something? I think they definitely will.
Dave, the squad is definitely stronger, but is your first 11 stronger?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. And with Gary O'Neill, I really, and Matt Hobbs. Do you know what? Matt Hobbs, he hasn't put a foot wrong since he's come in, really. He brought in Gary O'Neill. Everyone was saying everything he seems to have done seems to be for a reason. It seems to be thought about and worked. Since Scott Sellers went and Matt Hobbs has gone in, the evolution, he's had to work under very tight constraints last summer. They've brought in the money. They brought in Gary. Gary's had a pre-season, and you've got to trust it. You've got to trust Gary O'Neill and Matt Hobbs. And I really do think there's going to be another 2 or 3 players that are going to come in. I mean, I'll be disappointed or not. I don't think we can sell another. I said last year as well, we could sell 1, sell 2, but Kuna, Joe Gomez, Ryan Ait-Nouri, we can't be selling them. They're like quality players. And I know Ryan Ait-Nouri
one more big one to go.
Yeah, well, I don't think we will. We can't sell.
I do have faith in O'Neill, Dave, and I don't want people to think that I'm going on this anti-Wolves rant again.
You're not. It's a good debate, this is.
I do have faith in O'Neill. I've really bought into this bloke. I like O'Neill. I like him as well because he came in. He was completely written off before we even kicked a ball. And I do like an underdog. I don't mind an underdog at all. And he's proven his worth to me. And I don't mind a brave underdog either, Dave. Somebody that has a go. Matt Hobbs. Matt Hobbs has done an outstanding job for us, Dave. Not only with purchases, but with sales.
Yeah.
Now, we need one more person to step up here, Dave, and really step up so that we're not going to consistently be a mid to lower league table side. And that person who really needs to step up, and I totally agree, we have to make money, Dave. We've got to make money. Can't just blow every penny we've made. But there has to come a time, Dave, where this ship, to me, seems like it keeps getting scuttled on purpose. We get right on the peripheries of European qualification, and then we drop off the edge of a cliff. Now, if we'd have had strength in depth the last 2 seasons, we'd have been in Europe. So it's up to Mr. Shea to open the purse strings a little bit more to get that little bit more quality. I fully agree with you that the depth of the squad yesterday, when I looked at it, was far, far superior to last season. But now what we've got to do is we've got to make our first 11 better than last season with the depth we've got now. And the only way you're going to do that is Mr. Shea open the purse strings a little bit more. You're still going to make plenty of profit, lad. Don't forget that.
Well, yeah, because there'll be still more. There'll probably be still 1 or 2 more peripheral players that'll probably go out. Hopefully, we sell Fabio Silva, and a bit of money comes in for him. But this is what I'm saying. I think there's I think there's potentially between 30 and 40 million pounds, plus leaving some over for January, and keeping some back for the Jurgen Strand Larsen. If we keep him and he does really as well as we hope we will for next year, because there's another 20 million on there, which we've got to pay at some point.
The thing is, Dave, as well, sorry to butt in again, if we are in the mire come January, and that's a big if, I don't think we will be. We might look like we're going to be in October because we've got a bloody hard start to a season here. But if we're in the mire come January, you mark my words, they'll find plenty of money down the back of the sofa. So for me, if you can do that in January to get yourself out the shit, you can do it with good planning now.
Yeah, but you can't just do that, Sutty, because like as I say,
you can, Dave. Yeah, you can.
No, they can't, because this is in the next financial year. So you've got to work within what money you've brought in. We have, like I said, we were 20 million pounds up. We are 110 million pounds with the money that we bought in. And obviously, so there's only a certain amount of money that they can do. They could bring that 20 million in. I guess that they're keeping back for next summer potentially. But like we've still got to, obviously the PSR stuff still comes into play. But I do think with 30 to 40 million pounds, there's a lot you can do with that. You can.
There is with Matt Hobbs spending it, definitely.
Yeah,
because we would spunk 30 or 40 million quid with Jeff Shea spending it on one player a few seasons ago, and that is one plus that we don't have anymore.
And do you know what? We've paid for those decisions, and that's a lot of why some of the reins have got come back. And I think maybe they'll loosen a little bit because Matt Hobbs has earned a little bit of trust on everything that he's done, and hopefully, and he's making money and. He's sold the right players. So I'm hoping that confidence in what he's been doing is going to be trusted. And we'll, obviously, I've said all along, I said last year when everyone was panicking, judge at the end of the transfer window. I said at the beginning when we bought in 4 players, let's not get carried away. Let's judge it at the end of the transfer window. Do we come out at the end of the transfer window stronger, in depth? But I'm 100% with what you're saying. We can't be bringing 2 or 3 players in that have got potential. We need to bring in 2 or 3 players that are, first team players. Not
absolutely.
Oh, they might be in 2 or 3 years' time, because we've bought in those type of players. Rodrigo Gomez is playing. Pedro Lima's in there. They're good little players, but they're young. We need to be bringing in some, oven-ready players, shall we say? Jack?
No, I agree. I think Sutty's kind of nailed it there. I think we've got to kind of. I think the subs bench yesterday was the strongest subs bench we've had in years. If you just look through the players, Dawson, Bueno, Chiquino, Guedes, Pedence, Cunha, Sarabia, that's a really good bench. A few of those might move on between now and the end, and you might get 1 or 2 in. But I mean, let's be fair. Jeff Shea had an awful summer. With the disaster of the ticket prices and some of the stuff that he sent out to people on email and some of the stuff he put on the Express and Star. Now, you've got in Matt Hobbs, you've got a guy who lives and breathes recruitment. His dad has run recruitment at Chelsea for 20 years, and Matt Hobbs has been in scouting and recruitment his whole footballing career. He knows what to do. If you've got, however much you said, 50, 60 million, you give that to Matt Hobbs, he will get absolute bang for his buck. It's not like you're giving it to him and he might get you a couple of decent players and a couple of duds. And he will get you those players that you need. And Jeff Shear's just got to be able to step back, go, listen, I've had an awful summer here. You need to get me out of it now, Matt. You need to go and get the players that Gary needs, that the fans know we need. We're all sat here saying it's crystal clear to us what we need to get this club up to the next level. So Matt Hobbs will know it for sure. Gary O'Neill will know it for sure. And probably deep down, Jeff Shee knows. But it's just about, can he step away and go, well, actually, I've got a guy who knows what he's doing. So I'm going to give him control of that fund to go and do what we need to do. And I think that's the way that he's got to turn things around and just say, you know what, I've got the right guy in place. Like you said earlier with Scott Sellers. Scott Sellers was an academy manager, effectively. He should never have been a sporting director because that's not, he was great with the academy, and the academy came on leaps and bounds when he was in charge. But he's not a recruitment guy. He's not a medical, whatever. Matt Hobbs is. So you've now got the guy in place where you can step back if you're the chairman or the owner and say, you in charge of this funding, you go and recruit properly for this football club. And I think that's what they've got to do now. We could have a really good 2 weeks here before the end of the window, and we could be all of a sudden thinking, we're going to have a great season here. We've already been written off by all those, idiots on Sky and BBC.
They think because we sold Pedro Neto and Kilman, we're going to be relegation focused. They have no clue. Some of these journalists at all. They just don't. They just don't understand.
Outside of the top six, football is just all one thing, isn't it? You just pick a name out of a hat and talk about them for 30 seconds and whatever. So, yeah, it's a big 2 weeks, but it could be a great 2 weeks. And we've just got to hope that, like Sutty said, Jeff is just kind of going, you know what? You've got to go and sort this out now, Matt. You've got to go and get these players for us. And I think he will. We're talking about money, but there's loan options. And, you look at Chelsea today, for example. They've got 40-odd players. So they're going to have 10 players, 15 players in the next 2 weeks that they're going to try and get rid of. Now, some of those players might do a really good job for us. So it is a case of just seeing what these other clubs are going to do. We're not top of the food chain. Listen, the four of us here and everyone on the chat, we all think Wolves are the biggest and best club in the world. And they are, right?
But, of course they are, of course.
Absolutely. But there's a pecking order, isn't there? And these top teams, these Chelseas, these Liverpools, these Tottenhams, they go and do their business. And then we're the next in line, if you like. And so there might be a player that becomes available in the next 2 weeks that we didn't think we could get at the start of the window, and all of a sudden he's there and available. And because we've been really sensible with our recruitment and we've got decent value for the players we've sold, we might be able to go and do a deal here that really kicks us on. So it's a case of let's see what we can do with this money, because they do need to spend. They absolutely do. And I know we've done some good business up to now, but more needs to be done.
Absolutely. Chris says Dave, the Masters run 60-year loss goes off our record next summer. Well, yeah, that's absolutely right, Chris. But the 60-year loss doesn't affect what we're doing in this year, in this season. Wolves' accounts run till the end of May. So the 60-year loss the following year goes on the next set of accounts. Where we will be next summer, we'll be in an unbelievably strong position next summer. This is why we've gone from last summer where we had to just sell to this summer where we're able to have a little bit more clear blue water, raise a bit of funds and move the squad about. And the summer after, we should be able to spend mega bucks the following summer. But that's all part of the evolution of the squad, definitely. You make some really, really good points there. The other thing to note, and we're going to come on to your thoughts and then we're going to man of the match and all that sort of stuff for the game at the weekend. The other thing is that we haven't mentioned, of course, we're all about spending money. Wolves can have a loan to buy from somewhere as well. We've used that market really well. So we don't necessarily have to spend, the limit of the pot, 30 or 40 million, because Wolves are going to have a much bigger pot of money the summer after. We can have a loan where it may be a loan where someone might cost 30 million the next summer, potentially. So that's an option on that as well. Scott, we're gonna just move on a bit onto that. I will touch on Hugo Bueno in a minute, but do you want to give your Lee Moore Windows man of the match and your Foxer Shipley performance rating for the weekend, and you guys in the chat as well, if you can leave yours too?
For me, it was Mosquera, Yerson. He was my man of the match. I would say Gomez a close second. Rating, I would say 7.5, because I honestly believe that we didn't make it easy for Arsenal one bit. We could have got a point if that goal from Larson had gone in, and if we didn't gift Arsenal as much as we did gift them. But I don't think there's no need to hit any panic buttons at the moment. We've started our campaign against arguably one of the best teams in the league, who might go on to win it. Where the real test will come will be Chelsea, who are literally like they've got like God knows how many signings they've got now, but like literally, I watched them today.
They built an extra marquee or something because they got so many. So it looks like a gym or something like that. So something on so many players.
I watched them against Man City today, and honestly, I do, like I said earlier, I do believe we can nick 3 points from Chelsea at home if we play like we did against Arsenal and patch up the little mistakes that we did make against Arsenal. But I'm confident this season. Like I said in the video before, where I gave my prediction for where we would be, I reckon we're going to be fighting for Europe. I honestly do. I don't think we'll get Europe. I think we'll just miss out, and we'll finish around about 8th or 9th. So at the minute, I'm very positive about what I saw against Arsenal, and I'm confident going into the Chelsea game, especially at home. So when you ask me again, Dave, what my rating's going to be for the game when we play Chelsea, it's going to be a lot higher than 7. I just got that feeling.
I hope you're right. Sutty, man of the match for you for the weekend and performance rating?
Man of the match, Mosquera. He looked absolutely assured to me. He's fast. I mean, there was one tackle in the first half where they were through 1-on-1 and he timed it to perfection. He had to go to ground, but he got up, won the ball, found a player as if it was just training day. You know, he's going to be a top player, and for £4.5 million, that's a bargain. We won't miss Max Kilman, especially in a back four, I can tell 100%. You now. I felt sorry for Totti Gomez because I think, as Scott said, he did look shaky, but the times he looked shaky was because of absolutely abysmal distribution by our illustrious goalkeeper. So that was the problem there. And he did settle down as the game went on. And Totti Gomez has been okay in pre-season again with Mosquera. They're both very fast. They're both very physical.
Very athletic.
Yeah,
they both look quite calm on the ball.
Yeah, what I don't want to see in a back four, although I love him, is Craig Dawson, because we will be in a big lot of trouble.
He's not got the pace, has he? He's more. No. I think Dawson's more. If we go to a back three,
yeah, absolutely,
put him in the middle.
But I'll give it. I just want to shout out for João Gomez as well, because João Gomez could get in Arsenal's midfield, could get in Liverpool's midfield, 100% get in Chelsea and Man United's midfield. And I think the only midfield that lad can't get into at the moment is City's. He is that good, and he'll be your next big sale next summer, I would think. But he was a borderline 9 as well yesterday. He carried the ball.
To me, he was the best player on the pitch. You know, overall, he was magnificent.
The reason I'm giving it Mosquera as well is because it was his Premier League debut, and he just looked like he'd been playing the Premier League for years. But I'll give it a 7 as well, Dave. Away support again, brilliant. I did have a first yesterday at the game, Dave, that I've ever had at an away game. I was asked to sit down by a Wolves supporter because he couldn't see, which was declined. It was declined, might I add, and I told him he'd have to stand up. But
you don't ever sit down. You don't sit down in the on an away day.
Oh, he did.
Not unless you're on the front row.
He tapped me on the
shoulder.
You're in a
wheelchair.
I was waiting for Jeremy Beadle to jump out and say it was a joke, where I just laughed at him and said, "You're gonna have to stand up, pal, because unless everybody else sits down, I ain't sitting down." But it was a good day out. There was lots of positives, but it showed our frailties as well. So you got to take both, I'm afraid. But yeah, a solid 7.
Jack?
Yeah, man of the match, I went with João Gomez for exactly what Sutty said. I thought he looks so comfortable, like a Rolls Royce of a midfielder, isn't he? He just does he makes it look so easy and just doesn't put a foot out of place. I've got no issue with Mosquera as well. I think that's a great shout as well. I thought the two of them were probably the big sort of pluses out of the team, really. But again, I thought Larson acquitted himself well, and Matt Doherty had a decent game. He was probably the one I was most concerned about going into the game, because I've not been a big fan of Semedo, but he had a great year last year, and I thought, I don't know if we're going to miss Semedo, but I thought Doc had a good game. Performance rating, I'll go with 7 again, but I know where those 3 missing marks are, and I'm hoping we can kind of pick up on those, like Scott said, as the weeks go on, we can kind of fine-tune those errors and then sort of pick up little bits here and there. And just the highlight of the day was just football being back. I mean, I know at the end of last year we were talking about we were all a bit burnt out as a fan base and we needed that summer to recoup. But it's great to have it back, isn't it? So, yeah, it was a really good day out and a result that we probably all deep down expected. But like you've all said, lots of things we can take forward from it. So, yeah, really good.
Absolutely. Scott, your highlight, and then Sutty, your highlight of the day. Could be anything.
I would say Ludwig Jack's just that football's back. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just glad it's back. I've waited for a long time for it to be back because the Euros was good, but you can't beat club football. Club football's better, in my opinion. And to just see Sky Sports, TNT Sports showing Premier League action again is brilliant. And to see Wolves finally kick off their campaign under Gary Neal has been good. So I'm looking forward. I think we've got a decent chance of a decent cup run. Starts off with Burnley, which I know none of us really want to go and watch that game, but ideally, I reckon we can beat them. I reckon we're going to have a good Premier League campaign. I don't know, I've just got for the first time in a long time, I've got a real positive feeling about this season.
I love that you highlighted the season already, but there you go. Sutty, highlight of the day for you. I think I know what you're going to say.
Well, highlight of my day is spending it with 3,000 diehards because I love going away from home. It's special going away from home, and you're lucky getting tickets to go away from home. But I had my lad with me.
That's what I was thinking you were going to say.
And that's always special, as you know, going with your dad. Well, he might not think it's special going with me, but I think it's special going with him. He's 15. He's really into his football now, and his certain kinds of clothing, which cost a fortune, Dave. And he's really, really, really into it. And let's just say when he stood next to Dad lets him say things inside a football stadium that he'd never get away with outside either. So he's turning into a young man, and a good young man at that as well.
That's brilliant. That is. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. I think this man here. Well, we were talking earlier about like how fantastic he was, but like that is kind of almost a moment. We know we're about being too nice. With Daniel Pedence, he's a right pain in the neck. Love having him about, fighting in pre-season. But Yerson Mosquera there, it's like, that is just such an iconic photograph. And if ever a guy is going to endear himself to the Wolves faithful on his debut, he's playing as well as he did, and then, letting this guy know here, don't mess with me, and then, pushing Jesus over with his hand, Jesus is over as well. I mean, he's going to be. I said the night before, Mosquera. I've watched him a lot in pre-season. He's such a Rolls Royce of a defender, and he just looks made for the Premier League. And I had the privilege of meeting him before pre-season a few weeks ago. Had a quick chat, and he says, "I'm ready for the Premier League." Very tall, very, very nicely spoken, not built, incredibly athletic, very quick, reads the game well, and I think he's going to be, as you say about Kilman, he's gone, but like he's some player I think he's going to be for us, and to get and to endear himself to the Wolves fans like that on his debut, and then get man of the match for how he played as well. What a great start to his.
I don't know if you remember, Dave. A couple of years ago, we played at West Brom in the under-21s Cup at the Hawthorns, and Mosquera took a penalty, and he scored, and he shushed the entire West Brom
Did he do that?
Yeah, and I thought at that point, I thought, there's a proper shithouse for you, yeah.
He sparked a pitch invasion in an under-21s game, Dave.
He did.
He's got something about him, and he's got a little bit of, as you say, shithousery about him, which is good. I mean, VAR could have sent him off potentially, but he didn't. But he just about stayed the right side of the line. I think he didn't even get a yellow card, did he?
No.
He kind of did it and then fell over like that or whatever, and then but he's endearing himself to the fans already, so that's fantastic. Quick thoughts on Hugo Bueno, Sutty, going?
I was a bit shocked at that one, to be honest, Dave. I thought he was our sort of make weight if we needed to shove Aït-Nouri up pitch a bit to try and drag a result out. He was the bloke that used to slip in. But, hey, who am I? Matt Hobbs knows best, and he thinks we've got cover. And I'm no doubt that Totti Gomez will shift in there if needs be, and Aït-Nouri gets injured or pushes up a bit further. But it can't hurt his progress to play every week, because I'm pretty sure
he got an assist within 5 minutes playing today.
I'm pretty sure they've gone to Feyenoord with Wolves saying, look, he needs to play. We don't want him sitting on a bench over there in that league, because that's ranked lower than the Championship across Europe.
Yeah. Again, it might be a bit like Mosquera on loan for 2 years. He's come in. That's what you want from your loan system, to go out, get loads of experience and come back and be able to slot in when someone moves on. Jack, your thoughts on Hugo Bueno?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's kind of indicative of the way that we are now. We're very player central in terms of how we do things. We don't necessarily look at what's best for the club. We look at what's best for the player. And I think the loan move is better for Hugo Bueno than it is for Wolves. Like Sutty said, he is a decent option to have it in reserve, but they want him to go and play football. That's what's best for him. And obviously, when you're trying to recruit players, if you can present your club as someone that will do what's best for the player, then players are going to want to come and play for your club. So if he goes there and he's a success, then if Aït-Nouri is one of the ones to move on next summer, he comes back a better player. Or if, like you said, he wants to go out again on loan next year as well, there's an option there. I think I can't remember where it was, but I think there's we've put clauses in the contract that Feyenoord have got to play him a certain amount of times. Now, I'm not a massive fan of that, but I do think it's a sensible approach if you're going to loan a player out, to say, well, actually, we're going to loan him to you, but you've got to play him, because otherwise it's a complete waste of time for everyone. So it's one to keep an eye on, isn't it, and kind of see how he's getting on. But yeah, I think it's a good move for him, perhaps more so than it is a good move for the club.
Fantastic. Scott, your thoughts?
Not really much more to say on it, Dave. I agree with both Sutty and Jack. For me, I was a bit shocked at first when I heard it, because I thought he'd be a player that would be either on the bench or starting for us this season. But if he needs more game time to develop as an individual, as a player, then I think it's a great move.
Fantastic. Now, guys, we're gonna do a bit of light-heartedness in a second. We're going to be looking at our favourite summer destinations for tips on that, and then we're going to come back and look ahead to the Chelsea game. But what I do want to say to you before we go on to that, I just want to talk about the Content Creators Cup, if you don't mind bearing with me for a couple of minutes, and I want to share this because this is a great opportunity to support the Wolves Foundation, right? We've got 10 teams that are taking part, all your top content creators. We've got the Old Gold Pack. We've got the Wolves media team that are playing and entering a team as well, so we've got the Wolf, we've got everyone's there. There's going to be loads of people there playing this tournament, and we're aiming to raise £5,000 for the foundation. And now we're moving on to ticket sales. So basically, what I need you guys to do, it's at Compton, at the Wolves training ground in the dome, so you're not going to get wet. There's going to be refreshments and food on as well, proper referees, all the works. If you do want to come to the game to support and watch this, then what I just need you to do is go on to there. And if you want a ticket, like what Ian Nichols has done here, it's £5 a ticket. You put your name, and then tickets, and then on the door, because there's a security, your name will get on the door to go in. Now, there's only a limited number of tickets that can be sold because of the size of the dome. So, look, get your tickets. Bring your family down. It's going to be a great day, and it's supporting the foundation. And if you can't go, see if you can do a little donation to help us get towards that 5,000, because the foundation do so much great work for so many different, for youngsters, young kids, disability, mental health. They do stuff with dementia. They do a lot, and they need funding. And that's why we're running this thing. So I'd love you to come and support. We'll all be there. A lot of the Always Wolves team will be there as well, even if they're not playing. And Scott's playing in goal for us. He's playing in goal. So look, try and come down to that. That'd be great. And if you can't, see if you can do a little bit of a donation. The other thing to mention, whilst I've got you, this is your chance now. If you want to come on the show, there is a link. The link, by the way, to the Just Giving page is below, and it tells you what to do. But there is a link here. If you want to come on the show now and talk to Scott, Sutty, Jack, or me, make a point. The link's in the description below. You can come on, and we'll get you on. Get yourself in the green room, and we'll get you on. Neil, the club has donated the use of the training ground, so it's not we're using the training ground, the dome. So the club is supporting in that way. We haven't had to pay for it, so we are grateful for that. Right. For a bit of fun, who wants to go first? Favorite summer destination? Doesn't have to be a holiday. It could be a little day trip. Could be anything. Who wants to go first? Okay, Scott, go on.
I like coastal walks. So for me, there's a nice place called Claret Bay. So if you walk from there all the way to Borth, it's a beautiful walk. Welsh coastline. Do that on a summer's day. It's beautiful.
Nice one. Sutty, Chris, I don't know whether this is aimed at you. He says, I hear Captain Custard's favourite holiday destination is now Athens. I think he's trying to refer to your yellow T-shirt.
No, we've just booked up to go to Greece in November to watch England. So he is completely correct there. So we've just finalised the trip this afternoon. So we've got accommodation, everything booked, and our friend there's coming with us as well. So for his first sort of group game away. So anyway, that's getting off topic. What Scott's just said, I went in June to a place called Rossili Beach on the Gower Peninsula with the dogs, and it was incredible. Though I was the only person on a beach for about 10-mile walk. It was unbelievable. But I also, Dave, for a little bit of life, I like a day at Edgbaston for the international cricket.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Nice atmosphere, bit of drinking, bit of fun.
Yeah.
Pop in and watch what you want. Go back.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Going on.
Yeah, brilliant.
There's a few on here. There's like Banff National Park, Alberta, near the Canadian Rockies. David Wright loves his garden. Rome in Italy. West Wales, we've got here. Coastal Pass is fantastic, Scott. And Chris says his caravans is Borth, apparently. There's a nice trip to Niagara Falls. I don't know whether we could just go on a day trip to that, but maybe from where you are. Holly Island, England, Weymouth. I remember me and Emma, we went down to sort of Tenby. It was lovely down there. It was like Balamory when we went down to Tenby. And Emma loves Rome, and I know she wants to go back. So we're hoping we get back to Europe so we can play Roma and we can go to Rome. That'd be brilliant. That would. But we went to Split in Croatia in June. Absolutely fantastic. there will be a travel vlog done on that at some point. So much to do, but there's a lot of history, Roman history, a lot of Game of Thrones was done there. Mamma Mia, we went on a speedboat for a day, which Highland hopping, which was fantastic. So I definitely recommend that. And I do like Agadir in Morocco, but like, you know, there's so many nice places to go in this country during the summer. I know people do like the summer holidays, but like I look at the likes of Greece, not in November, but I look at the likes of Greece in July and August, and Spain, and I see people on holiday and it's 40 degrees and they don't want to go outside because it's so hot. It's getting so hot now. So it's like, I'd rather go somewhere in this country in the middle of summer and then go somewhere warmer for a bit of winter sun in November or March or somewhere like that. But any more? Have we got any more here? Lives on the Wales coach.
Just came to my mind, but two things. If you do that coastal walk as well from Claret Bay to Borth, as soon as you enter Borth off the coastal path, Borth United football ground is literally right there. So that's
okay.
So I think one of them said they had a caravan in Borth. They've got a football ground there. It's not much of a ground to look at, but they do play in the Welsh League. And then another one as well. I went to Tenerife and I watched Tenerife play.
I've been to Tenerife a few times. Neil Wiles says Tenerife. It
was a great the football game was a great atmosphere. Couldn't understand a single word where anybody was chanting, but it was a great atmosphere. And where I was sitting at the top of the seating of where I was anyway, basically. But the picture was in front of me, so I'm behind the goal basically, but way up in the air. And there's no roof, and if you look dead ahead, there's houses on a mountain, and the sunset was coming down behind those houses, and you could see planes coming in low to land, and they just went over the houses and like the other side of the mountain. And it was just a beautiful picture of a football match going on at the same time. And I tried to take a picture of it, which I've got, but it doesn't do it justice. It was incredible, beautiful view. So if anybody, I know a lot of us go to Tenerife for holidays, but if you've got chance, taking a game at Tenerife is brilliant.
Merv Bennett, Cannock Chase, best place on the planet, beautiful over there. So loads coming in there. So that's really good. Just a little bit of fun. We try to throw these little different things in each week to have a little bit of lightheartedness. So if you've got any other ideas on that, fantastic. We've now got nearly 600 of you watching live, which is, if you think about 600 people, that's a lot of people. I know we have loads more that watch it on catch up. It'll be out first thing in the morning on podcast as well. Might even do a few little clips on social as well, which would be a bit fun. But it's time now to look forward to next weekend's game, and that is going to be facing Chelsea and the return of Pedro Neto, first home game of the season. Jack, your thoughts ahead of that and a score prediction?
I mean, I watched Chelsea earlier and they looked exactly like you'd expect. A group of individuals that haven't really gelled together, and it was a bit like watching a trialist game, if you like. They're all trying to just do their own thing and impress and be the best person on the pitch, and they weren't really necessarily doing what was best for the team. So I kind of go back to what Scott said earlier. I think we've got a real opportunity here to kind of really catch them before they've had the opportunity to kind of gel, because they have got some good players. You can't sort of shy away from that. I know they're a bit of a basket case off the pitch and an example of how not to spend money, but they have got some good players, and one of their players particularly we know very well, don't we? So, but I fancy us to nick it 2-1.
2-1. And we've got a really good recent record against Chelsea. I don't know whether we've won the last 3 in a row or even the last 4, but we have a really good record against Chelsea. Like someone might tell me in the chat, I think we've won at least 3 in a row against them. Sutty, your thoughts and expectations ahead of Chelsea?
Well, I've just watched Chelsea this afternoon as well, and exactly as Jack said, there are a lot of very good players there, but there's not a very good team. I think this is a game we can win. But we've got to cut out the niceties of gifting goals away. And we've got to be structured and on our game. And if we're on our game, I think we will win. But you can't give them too many chances and leave gaping holes and let them cross in our box for fun, because we will get destroyed. So we've got to be on it. And if we're on it, yeah, I'll go for a 2-0 win.
Well, Noah's confirming there that we've won 3 in a row. Last lost them at the Bridge in 22-23. And I don't think we'd won. I think we'd had a long run where we hadn't won there for a long time. And then we've won 3 in a row. Scott, Chelsea, weekend. You're going.
Yeah. This will be my first home game of the season that I've attended in probably over 10 years. So I'm really looking forward to this one. But like I said earlier on.
First game at Molineux for 10 years.
Opening game, yeah.
Opening game. I was going to say, I'm sure I've seen you there.
Oh, God, I've been on you plenty of times. But like the opening game of a season, especially Premier League, this is the first time for me. But no, I'm really excited for it. Like I said earlier, I am confident that we're going to win. I do think if we learn in training from our mistakes that we made against Arsenal, which I know Gary O'Neill's probably going to make sure he drums it into the players of what they've done wrong to put right for this game. Home crowd, Wolves behind them. I'm saying here 2-0. I reckon we get an early goal. We hit them dead early. And then the momentum there will carry us to a second goal, which will probably come halfway through the second half. I don't think Chelsea have got enough at the moment to work as a team. Like Sutty said, like Jack said, they're a bunch of individuals. Like, let's put it this way, Sterling released a statement, didn't he, today, saying that as far as he was aware, he had a good pre-season, he's getting on well with the manager, but all of a sudden he's been left out of the squad. So, again, I don't think the manager knows his best 11 yet. He's still trialing things. Like, I'll even put money on Neto will probably start against us. He didn't start against City, but he'll start against us. Because I don't think this manager knows his starting 11 yet. I don't think he knows what his best 11 is yet. And because he's got that wide range of players to select from as well, I think this is the perfect time to go out, guns blazing, and just bombard Chelsea with attack, and we're going to win. We'll win 2-0. I can't see anything less than a win here.
Well, I like your confidence, mate. I don't want to be overconfident. Chelsea have got a lot of talented individuals that can, you know, in individual moments of brilliance, got England through to the final of the Euros. We didn't play very well, but it was still individual moments that got us through. I think, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a very winnable game because I think psychologically we've got a psychological advantage on Chelsea, and I think there's a lot of Chelsea fans who'll start to look at Wolves as being a bit of a bogey team because we keep beating them. I mean, we played them off the park last year. You know, when Kuna hit his hat-trick, we were really starting to fire, and then all the injuries happened. We were looking a really good team at that point. And you know, but Chelsea still got 2 goals, even though we did really, really well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not, you know, maybe there'll be someone that comes in this week before the game because obviously there might be an incoming transfer or some more will happen on that. But I think the fact that they've got something like 43 players and you've got all the stuff with the off-field stuff that's going on and players releasing their own statements and things like that. It's not a good look. It's not a classy look for a club like Chelsea. And I think you're right. I just don't know if they're a team. They're just a bunch of talented individuals, and there's got to be a lot of unhappy players there who are like. There's so many players. How do you keep them all happy? How do you keep them all happy? So. How much it was like a training when I saw that, you know, they're all falling on top of each other. How do you get a training session going with that many players? I don't know. So I think like what Jack says, I think there'll be quite a few going out the door at Chelsea because surely they've got to trim that squad. And is there anyone in that Chelsea squad that you would think, do you know what, like that would do a job at Wolves that might come available, Jack?
I mean, there's a couple. I mean, there's talk of, is it Chalobah, the centre half that they were looking to get rid of? I think he's a decent centre half. If we were looking for someone that can play out from the back and he's got the physicality, I like Madueke. I think they're getting rid of him as well. The young winger that they got from PSV. I mean, he'd do a job. But again, it's got to be the right deal for us, hasn't it? It's got to be the right fee, the right wage structure. The players got to want to buy into what we're doing, because we've seen in the past, when we've bought players that don't really buy into what we want to do, they end up not doing what we want them to do anyway. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. Well, I mean, I think they've got about 8 goalkeepers, haven't they? And we were talking earlier about the fact that we perhaps need a new goalkeeper. So I wonder whether there's a goalkeeper there. We could
11 goalkeepers, apparently. Carl White has said Battinelli, the goalkeeper. Neil White says Cole Palmer, if only.
Well, there you go. There's one.
He single-handedly dragged them up the table last year.
Yeah, there's your 100 million gone. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So looking forward to that one. It's our first one back. The only one other thing to mention is that it is the deadline for the Football Content Awards nominations. There is a link in the description below this video. If there's like a load of you watching, if you can fill that form in and nominate us for like the Premier League podcast and the YouTube channel, that would be great. I'd appreciate that. See whether we can make not make the final again this year. That would be amazing. And of course, again, as I said, the Just Giving stuff's down there as well. I hope some of you can come and buy some tickets for that. And just to finish off with, again, a big massive thank you to Creation Wolf, who support us so well with being able to put this on. We've actually just recently paid the extra to upgrade StreamYard. So we've gone up a plan. So it does help us cover all the costs of doing that. So we can basically have more people on, and we can do more with it, better quality, that type of thing. So really hope you've enjoyed it. Final thoughts from everyone before we go, Scott, just in one sentence. Final thoughts.
It's early days. Get behind the boys at Molineux, and they'll reward us. They'll reward us with a good season. I know they will.
Absolutely. And if you've got any quick questions that you want to fire at us as well, Lima yesterday, he wasn't in the squad, is he? I heard something like he might have had a minor injury. I don't think we know, basically.
His time will come, won't it? I think it's one of them. Like I said, I think we just had so many options, didn't we, to maybe put on the bench yesterday.
Well, they did. And it's great. I said to Sutty before the game, because I came up and I went, look at that bench. So we actually had a strong bench. It was great. Jack, final thoughts?
Yeah, just great to have the football back, isn't it? And I think we'll be a work in progress for a few weeks, won't we? And like Sutty said earlier, we've got a tough start. So the players and Gary will need us in these first few games to carry them over the line at times, I think. So trust in what we're doing, get behind the team, and let's see what we can do this year.
Absolutely. Chris Humphreys, cheerful Chris, who, I do feel for Chris at the moment, because he's really down on everything at the moment. Do the panel think we will sell all our Chelsea tickets?
He has got a point, though, in a way. He has got a point, because I got an email on Wednesday saying it's on general sale, and I didn't think opening match day at home, the first home game would have gone to general sale, to be honest.
Well, no, absolutely. I mean, I think the point on this is season ticket prices. We've been over this a million times. And you got Chelsea at home, who has gone to general sale. What I will say on that, it is holiday season. There's a lot of people still away. It's on the telly. It's a Category A band price, so it is quite expensive. So I'm guessing. But there's a lot of people that come on so many times. Like, I can't get a ticket for Molineux. I can't get a ticket. They come on and say, we can never get there. Well, and watch these sort of teams. So, don't know. Do you think it'll sell out? I think it probably will. Sutty?
No, I don't think it'll sell out. I think there's quite a few tickets left. But wouldn't it be a lovely gesture to young kids and people that can't really afford it, Dave? That any tickets that don't sell out, a great PR for our club and our illustrious chairman, if they just gave any tickets away on the morning of the game that weren't sold.
Well, yeah, I think that would be great. But like, I don't know how to get them to people on the morning of the game. I have a feeling
you queue up at that ticket office. If there's tickets left, first come, first serve. And
they'll be charging them for him, Sutty.
Of course they will, because they're tight asses, Dave, and you get nothing out of this lot for nothing.
Yeah, they'll be thinking. Well, I think it'll probably. I don't think there's that many seats left. I think it is on general sale, but I don't think it's. I think it's in 200 or 300 rather than thousands. But it is a good point. Obviously, it's not a good look if it ain't sold out.
No, terrible.
It ain't. But then it only comes back to the person that's made the decision on the pricing points, because it ain't going to be a good look back in China.
Can I just say that's exactly what I mean, Adrian. If they're allocated to local schools or something like that, local kids' homes, anything like that, brilliant PR. But don't leave empty seats. That is shocking.
Yeah, well, we'll find out, won't we? We'll soon see. We'll soon see. Jack, Sutty, did you give your final thought? I can't remember.
Now, my final thoughts, Dave, are obviously it's a really, really difficult run in. I fully expect us to be languishing at the bottom come the end of September, to be honest. I don't expect us to have many points on the board, but it's about
the first 9 games are very difficult to do. It's mathematically the hardest running of any Premier League start for any team.
Well, yeah. It's no good starting to spout off stuff about our bad run last season at the end of the season and tagging it onto this one, because we all know last season the bloke didn't have a squad. We were playing 15-year-old kids and dragging them out of school on a Friday afternoon to go to a game on Saturday. So this is a totally different season, and a season we've got to get behind him and not get too gung-ho in calling for heads to roll if things don't go according to plan, because fortunately we do seem to have some supporters that think we'll win the league, Dave, and that ain't gonna happen.
Who thinks we're going to win the league?
Mate, you'd be amazed at some of the people who think we should win every single game. We should compete in every single game, but we certainly won't win every single game.
Mate, it would be a bigger thing than Leicester if we won the league. Because that although Leicester won that year, it wasn't the strongest Premier League. Generally, they were all taking points off each other, and Leicester did win it. Fair play to them. But the league is so much stronger now than it was then. To even get in the top 7 is going to be, if we got top 7 this year, that would be an incredible season for us, But like, we've got to improve on 14s. I've got in my BBC article that I wrote last week. I do a weekly column now for BBC Sport. I went 9th, and I'm being a bit optimistic, but I'm just hoping I'm going 9th based on the fact that I do believe 2 or 3 extra players are going to come in those key areas. So that's my thinking. But I do think we can have a push for Europe. But I do think if we come out the first 9 games with 8 or 9 points, I think that sets us up quite nice to then go and push on. We need to be coming out the first 9 games with about at least 9 points, I think, and then a point a game is okay, keeps you up, and then you can hopefully it's a little bit of an easier run. I mean, I will ask the question just quickly before we finish, Sutty. How many points do you think we will have on the board after the first 9 games?
6.
6. Scott? Well, Scott's got us for 3 points against Chelsea already.
I'm going to say 9.
9. Jack?
I'll split the difference then. 7.
Splitting the difference between 6 and 9, 7. So 7.
Yeah, 7, 8, whatever. Yeah.
7.
You can't have 7.5 points, can you? So I'll go 7.
No, 7.
VAR will take a point off us somewhere, won't it? So
almost finished. Like, listen. So,
but at least we can moan about it because we voted to get rid of it, unlike the other 19.
6 points. So if we got 6 out the first 9, how would you be feeling about that?
Well, like I've said, don't get too despondent. You'll never have a harder start to a season.
Chris Humphries, honestly, God, what is he on, man? Someone give him a hug or something, please. Cheer him up.
Dave, I've got to go to Greece with him for 4 days.
Mate, have you ever watched the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy with Marvin the paranoid android? He's like depressed android. It's like that's Chris at the moment.
You're not going to believe this, Dave, but he's actually quite a witty bloke when you get.
Oh, he is. I know he is. I have laughed with him. I love him to bits. He isn't called Cheerful Chris for nothing. Anyway, carry on.
Look, we said at the beginning of pre-season, don't buy into too many victories in pre-season because nothing, and don't get bogged down by too many losses in pre-season because they mean nothing. It's this that means something, but you've got to. He's starting from scratch here, as I said before. My only concern here is these wing backs being converted to full backs. I just don't think it's going to work.
Absolutely. Chris Humphries, you're going to eat your words big time. I'm telling you now, mate. I've watched enough football pre-season, all the games. I know last thing, we're not going to get 0 points. If we do, I will come on here. And if we've got 0 points after 9 games, I will do a forfeit. But if we've got more than 0 points, Chris, then you're doing one as well. We're going to get Chris to do. We'll get Chris to, I don't know, sing a song or to cheer himself up or something. I don't know. There's someone here. Equally, is Leo's going 15 points. And I mean, if we got 15 points, well, maybe we will. We're winning the league. I don't know off the base if we got 15 points from the first 9 games. Listen, it's been absolutely. Can you record that? He says, Chris, it's on here. Seriously, if we've got 0 points after 9 games, I will do a forfeit or something. Okay, but if we've got more than 0 points, you're doing one. So there you go.
Better still, whoever's at the Chelsea game next to Chris, if we do win, just hug him.
Yeah, give him a hug, man. In fact, he's not far from me. So I'm sure someone will get. Yeah, look. Yeah, I'll wear a wig. I'll wear a blonde wig or something like that, or a Fabio Silva wig. I don't know. No. You said 0 points. That's fair enough. Fair enough. You've made your point. You're forfeiting. You can have an ice bath, says Daniel. There we go. Anyway, listen, Jack, have you said your last bit?
Yeah.
You have, yeah, of course you did. Right, let's go, guys. Look at them. We have a laugh, we have a joke. Literally, even right now, we've got over 600 watching. If you've enjoyed this, hopefully we've entertained you, give you some thoughts. Smash that like button. Follow us on all the socials. Always Wolves, TikTok, X, Instagram. We're there on everything. Facebook. More importantly, hit that subscribe button on YouTube and hit the like button and hit the bell notifications. Loads of content coming, and we've got to. I think what Sutty's, Sutty, can be the voice of reason tonight for a change. Don't panic. Stick by it if it's a difficult start, but let's not panic. We've got to stick with this, and we'll be all right. That's about right, isn't it, Sutty?
Yeah, we're going to go down before we come up. Not in divisions, but we will be languishing below halfway towards the bottom after 10 games. But, it'll come. We've got to play weaker sides, and hopefully we beat those weaker sides, Dave. That's all you can pray for.
Absolutely, because if you don't, that's when we're really in trouble. But this is Wolves. We'll probably have a really difficult start. Like Leo, might be on 15 points, then we'll have the easier run, and probably that's where we'll probably not get the point, because that's just the Wolves way. Listen, guys, just over an hour and a half plus added time. So if you've enjoyed it, from myself, Jack, Scott, and Sooty, and all of you wonderful people in the chat, we've had a laugh. We have some debates. We don't always agree, but we try and cover everything for you, and we will see you probably Monday night or Sunday. We might do Sunday because it's 2:00 here, but it was Sunday or Monday night for extra time next week. Until the next one, from all of us to all of you, always Wolves.
Always Wolves.